Hello and welcome everyone to August Accountability 3x60 Power Sprints, also in support of the August 80K, 48K, 18K for anyone who's doing that. And that's just all about trying to create a sustainable writing routine for yourself, whatever that may look like, because I think that's different for everybody. And if you don't know me, I'm Shanon, writing on the pen name of S.C. Huston, author of A Curse of Scales and Feathers, A Curse of Wings and Gems, and the Clash of Goddesses series. And the goal of this dream is to provide a low-key environment to be productive. So it's strictly timed with 60-minute sprints and 5-minute breaks in between, with a total of 3 sprints that runs roughly 3.5 hours. And you're welcome to use the sprints for any productivity you need, whether reading, writing, housework, coursework, day job, or just taking care of you. And I do use the sprint time to focus on my tasks because of focus issues. That means I won't be in the chats until it breaks, but I love to catch up with everyone so we can celebrate our successes or just talk about whatever it is we have going on. And I have to, whoops, dropped my phone. And this week I have to concentrate on getting some admin tasks done because I have completely avoided that most of the month. I've done a little bit here and there, not enough, and I have deadlines coming up. So I am going to start with my Fated Adventures because the next packet goes out next week. So I need to make sure everything is in place with that. And some of that is admin, so sort of, right? So I have to code the website and whatnot. But I'm looking over the last scene to start with. So doing some revisions on the last scene first before I move on to doing that. And we have a lot of comments already. I don't know if I'll get through all of them. Devin came in morning. I have a short list today. Kickstarter announcement, reply to special formatting, and write 1,200 words. And it seems like to me that like those first two would be really, really quick. So that you'd have lots of time to write your 1,200 words. Hopefully that is the case. Fingers crossed. Dog Might Me Walking Before the Rain. Got Sucked Into the Keening by Margaret Pinard. I actually haven't read it. I have it, but I haven't read it yet. And Kendra says, good morning and hello to everyone. I just couldn't stay away from writing. I want to spend some downtime. What was I thinking? Yeah, I'm like that every time I take a vacation. But then I realized, you know what? Writing is my happy place. And I did ask Devin, what did she like about the keening? And then replied to to Kendra about sometimes the writing muse takes you. Maybe writing is downtime. And that's been my month so far. This has been my most productive month I have ever had my entire life. I should have been finishing up all the Fated Adventures on the weekend. That's what I told myself I was going to do, except I woke up Saturday morning with a new short story idea. I brainstormed it and wrote it, and I didn't get done till 1:30 in the morning. It was really, really good. And I decided, this could be part of a series of short stories. And so I was like brainstorming some ideas, and then finally made myself go to bed. Sunday morning, I woke up and says, okay, today I have to work on my Fated Adventures. And I'm like, well, maybe I should just do a little more brainstorming about the series idea that I have, and started doing that. And I started brainstorming the next short story and started writing it. I didn't finish it. And I thought, okay, I've got to stop here. I've got to do the Fated Adventures today. I've got to finish that up. So that's off my plate. So totally understand. Writing just takes you sometimes. You don't know where it's going to take you either. So far I'm at the Mad Dash. I think this is in the Keening, as I call it. The family has a short time to collect the harvest and find jobs elsewhere in order to survive the upcoming river. Just got to chapter 10. Yep, the dog definitely needs to walk. I haven't taken him out in weeks because of the muggy mosquitoes and weather. It's been really muggy here too, but we don't have the mosquitoes. So I was like, please keep them over there. If y'all didn't know, Devin and I live only about, 5 hours apart, I think, here in Florida. So it's true. Writing does feel like downtime. Everything else feels like work. And I was like, 100%. Yes, agreed. I actually sent the email to my co-host for my podcast on Friday. This one admin thing I did to let them know that I decided that I would like to end the podcast, but we're going to make it to episode 100. And they were both thought that was a great idea to go out on episode 100 and whatnot. So that's going to be a relief for me. Kat, hello. Good morning, Shannon friends. I have walked, showered, put a load of laundry in the washer. Wow, you've been busy. As soon as we go on our first sprint, I will make my breakfast smoothie. And I want to grab Dr. B's link. She is sprinting right now. I did stop in there and say hello before it was right between me getting home from the gym and taking the kiddo out for the bus. So I will grab her link and drop it in there. If you guys can say hello, thumb up over there. I want to work on my blog post first thing this morning after you make your smoothie, right? Ben, hello. How's it going? Working on Scales of Blood. Oh, I like the title. The book is done, but I'm going through to add and fix the gaps in the story. We'll be looking for betas before the November release date. Oh, that's kind of a short window. If you've got like a sign-up form or whatever, then please feel free to drop it. All right, we're going on to the first sprint, 60 minutes on the clock, and good luck. And that's time on the first sprint. How did you do? I am going through and revising like big portions. I knew I was going to of the ending scene. I wrote all 4 ending scenes to my Fate Adventures last week, but Dorian's is the only one that I really delved in and really made it good. Not that I didn't make the other ones good, they were just more done fast. So, and they're all in the same scene together, so I had to make sure that it lined up and whatnot. So I got all the main points in there, but I still a lot that I had to fill out. And so 2576 words for that. And that's all on one, and I haven't finished it yet. So I've got 2 more I got to do after this to finish all 4 characters. And then I'll be done with writing this story. You need all of it. So, and then I can work on the admin portion, but that'll probably be tomorrow, I'm thinking at this point. All right, left off with Ben talking about Scales of Blood. The book's almost done and want to get some beta readers before November release date. And I did drop the link for Vanessa, who's sprinting right now, if you want to go over and say hello. Good morning, everyone. Hello, Adishley. How are you doing? You sent me emails. I shall respond to them later today. Okay, awesome. When I saw your name for a second, I was just like, oh, I wonder if you sent me emails. But I realized it's like still early in the morning. It's a Monday, so I wasn't going to bug you too much with it. I did a little bit of admin for the podcast and whatnot this weekend. It was very, very little. Or at least once I get some coffee. That's important. Coffee's important. I will be working on my not short story today. I spent most of the weekend typing away 4 hours. I did too. I came up with another short story idea. Woke up with it on Saturday morning, went right into brainstorming and then writing it, and I didn't stop until 1:30 in the morning, and I wrote the short story. So I'm looking at a very huge creative flow this month. I figure I'm probably going to burn out here soon. But this week I have to make myself do some more admin. I've got to finish up the rest of this Fated Adventures and then start coding the website because everything goes out next week. So I have to get that done. Also, way to be rocking things out, cat to cat. That sounds like a dream version, of my to-do list. All the things I should have done by now, but actually done. Oh, well, yes. I should be doing those things too. But yeah, Devin saying hi, walked the dog and showered. Now for the Kickstarter announcement before writing. Nice. That was a few minutes ago. So maybe just getting started about 10, 14 minutes ago. I was able to think better about your question on the keening. She writes a story in a way that makes everyday struggles captivating. Oh, I love that. I do have the book, but I haven't started it yet. During this sprint, I got my smoothie, uploaded a dishwasher, finished assigned reading of Atomic Habits, transferred laundry from washer to dryer, put towels in washer, made coffee. Oh my gosh, you were so productive, Kat. I'm glad it was productive, but wow, you got a lot done. No writing that sprint, but we'll start the next one. Okay, cool. I'm trying to think, I know you've talked about your writing before, but I can't recall anything because I'm used to you working more on your to-do list and or reading something. Just sent the Kickstarter update. Okay, so that should be in my inbox. And there it is. I got it. Sorry, my cats were doing something, so I looked over there. 1 email sent, about to send another. Oh, okay. And good morning, Devin. Sorry, Devin, I was in the zone. Hi. Food, then writing. Sounds like a plan. I am almost done with my 2nd cup of coffee. I'm thinking about getting a 3rd. I'm writing a blog post. Okay, that's what I remember you writing then when you talk about your writing. Blog post today to update my August challenge. How is that going? 1,200 words, here I come. You got this. Just verbal vomit. I get so much done now with just doing that, with doing most everything that way. Dictation. And I know I call it verbal vomit because I love alliteration. And it does feel like I'm just vomiting words because I just throw a lot out there. And I've learned that. So dictation is definitely something you have to get used to, right? For someone who's never dictated, when you go to dictate, depending on what program you use, because not all of them require this anymore, but I just do it to a free program. So I have to say my punctuation. I forget my punctuation a lot of times when I get into a flow. And it doesn't capitalize anything unless it's after punctuation. So you're like, oh, okay, one huge long run-on sentence. But so that's something you have to get used to if you're dictating for the first time or just getting into the mode of dictating. But then it's, making something of the flow. And I think that's gotten easier for me, where I'm making better sentences now, dictation, than I was even a year ago. On the whole, beta form. I don't have one. I might look into making one. Yeah, somewhat, even if it's just a name and address or email address, so you know where to send the book or whatever it is you're going to do. So, all right, second of 3 sprints. If you had to leave out, thank you so much for coming. For everyone else, I'll see you guys on the other side of 60 minutes. Good luck. And that is time on the second sprint. How did you do? I did get some more coffee, and I don't remember what I did. I honestly forgot what I did, but I did come back and start going back through the ending scenes, the final scene of the Fate Adventures for all 4 characters. I hadn't quite finished the first one. I had started in the first sprint, but I finished it, and now I'm about halfway through the second one. And so that means I'll probably end up being able to start the third one and be close to being done in the next sprint, which I only had the 3 more to do. I had 4 characters, but one was completely done already, although I am going through and just like adding a few things here and there as I think of things in the other 3 character scenes, because they're all in the same scene together. They're just all kind of saying different things and having different conversations with people. So it's a lot to juggle. There's 9 people in the group, so you're not going to hear every single conversation. So yeah. All right. Let's see where I left off. Here, that's the plan. Verbal vomiting is so helpful. My fingers will be flying over the keyboard. So I had asked if she had planned to verbal vomit at 1,200 words. But I have to say, this is a bit confusing for me, because verbal vomiting is like dictation, but your fingers are going to fly over the keyboard. Like they're going to hover over the keyboard while you dictate? Or are you going to type and verbal vomit and dictate? So you're going to type and dictate? I was so confused by this. I just kept having images of fingers flying in the air over the keyboard while you were speaking into a dictation program of some type. But yeah, let's get it. Yay. I'm hoping this book will be a breath of fresh air after Sword. It got really dark in the last part of that book. Yeah, sometimes I need that refresher when I go dark. Have you a video on you actually dictating? That might be too intrusive for your writing, but I'm curious if you might done such a video. No. If I knew people were listening to me while I was dictating, oh my Lord. No. I think, didn't you ask me at one point, like, what I had just dictate? I could read that, but if people were like listening to me while I'm dictating, I think Dale had like a video at some point, and maybe it wasn't a video. He was doing writing sprints at one point. I think it was what it was. I'm trying to remember. I don't know if I actually remember it, but it was on silence. You couldn't hear what he was saying because we were in a sprint and he was dictating. So you could see his mouth moving. I think I might have done a sprint or 2 like that a couple years ago, but not any time recently. So I'm not doing like any, and just the dictation I'm doing right now is very, more polished, because this is the final draft of everything I'm doing. I'm trying to see. Nope, wrong one. So yeah, I don't think I could ever like dictate while everyone is listening to me. I just don't think I could do that. But it's an interesting idea. It's nice to have a breather, Devin. I'm thinking of figuring that out for myself. Oh, darn, I missed the break. My kids got a ride to band this morning, and I was saying goodbye. It's no worries. Hopefully you're able to get some writing in, or whatever it is that you want to do on your downtime. Morning, Eva. How's it going? Good morning, Kendra and Eva. Got to run. All right, Ben. I might come back, or I'll just join tomorrow. Kids got to go to school. I understand that. Got mine off this morning. Take care. Mr. Blandis from Adeshle. Hi, Andy. Waffles for everyone. Thank you. And Rachel coming through to hug the like button. Thank you. Finished updating the spreadsheet, and now on to emails. All the admin stuff. Oh, hopefully you get some time to write. Thanks for all you do for the community, for sure. Good morning, everyone, from Frankie. Good morning, Frankie. I'm under the weather today. Oh, no. Didn't even go to school today. Oh, I hope that you feel better soon. Hopefully it doesn't last too long. Hi, Dishley from Kendra. I started writing my blog posts, added 948 words from Devin. Sounds like people were being productive. Wow, 948 words. Wait a second. And you went at 1,200. You're almost there. It feels good to write again. So if you've already finished your other tasks and now it's just writing 1,200 words, what are you going to do when you hit 1,200 words? Is it like take the rest of the day off and relax? Or what do you think you're going to do? I set up the documents for the 2 blurbs I'm working on instead of answering emails. I guess I need to handle emails first. But my mind wants to get into the blurbs. I mean, I feel that way with writing. If I start the day doing emails, I feel like I'm never going to get to writing. And if I start the day writing, I'm never going to get to... It's a really hard struggle, I think. Sorry, I don't dictate well, LOL. But I type really fast. It's still a pouring out of story through the keyboard. Yeah, I don't type fast. So I can only imagine what that looks like steam coming off your keyboard and everything. Oh, yeah, Rachel. Oh, my goodness. I could never do it live. I don't think. I'm way too animated when I read. Oh, I think I just get too self-conscious. I got it. LOL. Hi, Devin. Oh, hello, chat. I figured I'd at least ask. I'd probably be pretty nervous and self-conscious if I did that. Yes, exactly. Hi, Andy and Waffles, and thank you. Yes, I hope you do feel better. LOL, Rachel, and 165 words for Dishley. We are heading into the final sprint of 3. If you have to leave out before you come back, thank you so much for coming. And for everyone else, we've got 60 minutes on the clock. Bye-bye. And that is time on the last sprint. How did you do? I finished up the third point of view for the final scene, and now I'm the fourth point of view for the final scene. So this is of my Fated Adventures. I wrote the final scenes last week, but the only one I really delved into and revised and made it really good was Adorian. So now I was going through the other three characters who are all in the same scene for my Fated Adventures. For anyone else new who came in, so the Fated Adventures is a story experience told from 4 different points of view that people who bought the experience could choose whichever point of view they want. So I had to make sure I'm writing it well from all 4 points of view. But yeah, almost done with it. And it's the last scene. I actually put all of it into one document on the weekend just to see how big it was, the 4 points of view and the stories. Because I was like, I didn't write like a novel, I don't think. I didn't feel like I wrote a whole novel for each point of view, but it was a lot. And I think I feel like I know the right number, but now I don't remember. But I do know the right number, so I'm reopening the document. $245,266 words. So 4 points of view telling this story. And there are times when the 4 characters are together doing, similar things or whatever. They're in the same room or whatnot. And other times they're kind of off on their own doing different things, and they all had their own love interests. And so they had their own character arc, their own romantic arc. And there was also a mystery that was part of the story that they were trying to solve. So yeah, it's a lot of words. And I didn't realize it was so many. I didn't think it was going to be that much, to be honest, when I first started it. All right. Left off with additionally has given us word count from last time, and then he said, I can type decently fast, but my storytelling speed is much slower. See, I'm the opposite. So I type really, really slow. Hard to balance it all. Yes, it is. At one point, I could type as fast as a person talked. I can't. I have to shorten words and leave out words, but I used to. I remember I was in a class. I was at the College of William and Mary, so I was getting my bachelor's, and I was in this class, and I typed my notes because I can't handwrite ever since I tore my TFC, and when I was early in the military. It's hard to handwrite for too long, so I type. And I remember this one teacher, she got upset that I was typing, and she said, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm typing notes." And she's like, "Are you really typing notes?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Read what you just wrote." And here I am. I'm like, I came out of the military. I'd already done one career. So I was, what do they call that? Something student, non-traditional student in college, and thinking I just came out of the military where I went to a war zone and I was in charge of my own squad. And I was like, and I'm being this lady asking me "Are you really taking notes?" And I read her what I was typing, and she was like, "Oh, okay." And she shut up after that. I didn't like her. But anyways, I didn't ever say that to her. She was a teacher that I used to bring up as an example to my students when I was teaching English, college English and literature, that I wrote a paper and I got a low grade on it. And I was basically straight A's. I had 1 B+ class in college. That was it. Everything else was A's. And there was no notes on the essay about why I got the grade I got. And I asked her, and she proceeded to spend the next half hour telling me how my point of view is wrong. And it was a thinking paper. We were to write about our own point of view and how we thought about this topic. And I looked at it and I was like, oh, okay, you're pulling politics into this, and you've got a totally different thought process than I do. And I didn't say any of that. I just listened to what she said. I rewrote the paper in her point of view and got the grade I wanted. And so I would tell my students, I was like, you're going to have teachers who are not going to be objective. They're going to be very subjective when they're grading your writing. And then you have to decide, are you going to stand your ground and take whatever grade they're going to give you because you don't believe the way they believe? Or, you could do like I did. I was like, I was not going to let her wreck my grade. And it didn't mean I changed my point of view. So, and I know that. And it didn't matter to me if she knew that or not, because she meant nothing to me in the grand scheme of things other than my grade at the end. And my students, they were always so divided. Many of them were like, I couldn't have done that. I just couldn't have. And I was like, well, you have to decide which side you want to be on and then be happy with whatever choice you make. Right. So, yeah. Anyways, I don't know how I got on that topic. Let me go on. When I make it to 1,200 words, I'll likely keep going until I get the kiddo from the bus stop. 1,200 is the minimum. I forget that you do have minimums Yeah, that makes sense. Or just close to it, but that was some time ago, back in the school days and before I typed way too much. JC, hello. Hope you had a great weekend and hope your week is starting off well. It's great. This has been an awesome month. I've had lots of creative energy. I woke up with a new short story idea on Saturday, and I spent the whole day brainstorming and then writing it and didn't finish it until 1:30 in the morning, but I did get it done. And then I woke up the next day. I had already started brainstorming some ideas of like this short story could be part of like a set of short stories that I could publish in the future as like part of a series. I'm actually kind of reading something like that right now, and that's probably how my brain worked overnight to come up with an idea like that. And so the next day I kind of brainstormed another idea for the next book in the series, and I wrote one chapter and then I stopped there. I was like, okay, I can't write no more. I've got to do other stuff. So, but still, the creative energy is like, it's like, I don't know. This is the most I've ever felt creatively, except for when I was a teenager and I spent my entire summer just sitting in the window writing the whole summer. So, hello to everyone from JC. JC, how are you? Hey, Devin. Hey, Emma, how's it going? Hi, JC. I don't know if you're still here, but thank you so much for stopping in. Lots of hellos. Lots of hellos. I love it. It's great having a great community, right? And then more hellos from Rachel. Okay, accomplished setting up my documents for the blurbing tomorrow night on my channel. Oh, if you want to share a link, Rachel, I don't know if you're still here because this was roughly 20 minutes ago, but if you're still here, please feel free to drop a link for the blurbing. I wanted to catch that. You had one. Was it this weekend? I feel like it wasn't too long ago. And I wanted to catch it. And I just keep getting into a creative, like, oh my gosh. Because yesterday, right, I was writing and I have Loki and he's been wanting to stay with me. On the weekends, the cats don't always want to be with me because they have other humans home. So they go and hang out with other humans. But Loki stayed with me the entire weekend. And all of a sudden, he like stood up and meowed. He was laying down next to me here. And I was in the middle of a creative flow. And I was like, Loki, quit. And he laid back down. And I got out of I finished whatever I was doing. And I was like, okay, now what is it? And he went to the door. So I was like, okay. So I followed him out. And went out there and I was like, and I went to say to my husband, I was like, the funniest things, he just stood up out of nowhere and just started meowing. I was like, I don't know what this was. And my husband's like, no, I was knocking on your door. I was like, oh, I guess I didn't hear it. I was like, the cat was trying to tell me, hello, there's someone there, answer. But I was so much into the creative flow that I didn't hear any of the knocking. But yeah, okay, another side story. But so yeah, I get into creative flows this month. Like I'm like missing so many things. I'm like, oh, I want to see that. And I have it pulled up sometimes and then it's gone. Yeah. Anyways, drop a link if you want to. Ho, Shanon. Hi ho. We're off to work we go. I don't know if you meant that or hi, but I just added hi, made it hi ho. Thanks for all of this, Christina, reminding everyone to do all the things to take care of you. Time for lunch. Y'all have a good one. Okay, I probably did miss her then. And I'll see you in other streams. There are probably other streams happening. Is Vanessa still going? Vanessa's still going. I didn't know how much long. Oh, it's at 12 hours. Okay. And she was already going when I got home from gym. So she's going to be going for a few more hours. There are 2 spreadsheets down below if you want to find other people sprinting. I believe I keep missing DL's. I believe DL goes on Monday nights right now. I don't know if that's like a forever thing, but I'm pretty sure she's going tonight. So I'm going to try and catch hers. Excuse me. Added 1,000. I've got the hiccups. It's 11:30. 1,286 making plus 942. My math is not mathing. I'm not really sure what you're telling me with that, but it looks like you got some good word count in there. You met your goal, I think. And so woohoo, that is so awesome that you met your goal. And you're probably just going to keep on writing from here on out, probably. I'm assuming from what you said earlier. Hellos. Making a total. Oh, okay. Okay, there's the math. For daily goal with a story total of 3,085 words. Nice. So you got 2,228 words out of 1,200. I really love all those twos. I like even numbers. And then not even numbers, I like factors of 5, although it's just really weird when factors of 5 keep showing up in my numbers. I'm switching to handwriting as I've come up with some ideas. Yeah, me too. I'm a discovery writer. I just sit down and start like putting everything on paper. I finished writing my blog post. I need to read through it to make final revisions before publishing it. I need to take care of laundry before the laundry that you reminded me. I got to do laundry too. Before the reread to give my brain a brief break and stretch. That's a good idea. That's also, yes, thank you. I'm trying to like, enjoy the creative flow, because I don't know if I'm going, I don't know. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to have another month like that. Or it's not going to be a consistent thing anyways for me. I don't know. October maybe, although I do have to get into admin because I've just totally ignored admin so much this month. So I need to get into admin in October. October is my next good writing month. Wait, I said October. There's September in between. September was supposed to be my next good writing month, but my husband's already going to be gone a couple weeks for work trips. And when he's gone, he picks up the kiddo from therapy at the end of the workday. So that means a couple days a week, I will have to end my workday sooner to go get him from therapy. So, and it just, knowing that I have to end to go get my kiddo, even though I'll have an alarm set, I get that time anxiety. So I'm like, oh, I've got 2 hours left. Oh, I've got an hour and a half left. Oh, I've got an hour and 15 minutes left. Oh, I've got an hour left. Or I've got 45 minutes left. And it keeps interrupting my flow of whatever it is I'm doing. So it's like for the 2 hours leading up to the time I have to leave, there's not a whole lot happening. So I don't know how to get over that. If anyone has any clue how to get over that type of anxiety, time anxiety, please let me know, because I haven't figured it out. I have set the alarms and I still have that anxiety. I have 2 alarms that go off in the morning to remind me of my sprints. You think I would remember my oown sprints, but I have had a couple times that I was late because my alarms, I shut them off because I took a break or whatever. So yeah. And then I tell myself, oh, the alarms are there, so I'm okay. And then the time anxiety doesn't come in. So either I'm on the far end of like, forget it, I'm not going to remember it at all, so I'm going to miss it. Or it's the other side where I can't concentrate on anything else but that thing that's coming up. So read the teacher, LOL. Yeah. Yeah. People can be interesting given their experience and perhaps lack of awareness at times. Yeah, I was really surprised because it wasn't like she was a young person. She was pretty, yeah, she was older than me. And it just amazed me that I would be graded based on the fact that I had to agree with her. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Yeah. I went to get a dictation keyboard. There's dictation keyboards. I used to do dictation for the CO on a regular keyboard. I wonder how fast I could type with that other keyboard. Wait, shorthand, like a shorthand keyboard or whatever. I don't know what it's called, but is that what that means? I don't know. I never heard of a dictation keyboard before. And academia is definitely its whole own thing sometimes. Yeah, I wish it would just keep politics out of it, to be honest. I don't think that unless you're actually a class about politics and you're in a degree for government and that kind of stuff, if I'm taking a class that has nothing to do with it, why should politics play a part in it? That's the way I feel. But that's me. That's not everybody. Professor was rude. Yeah, she was pretty rude. I didn't like her. I remember a student getting in trouble for plagiarizing their homework. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. I think they had referenced or used elements from a paper they had written before and didn't cite. Yes. Because they can do that, but not citing it is plagiarizing. And it is plagiarizing. That is actually the correct thing that happened. And got in trouble. I think this is what happened. And they were just getting their associates. I mean, okay. I'm a really kind of a rule-based person. I like structure and rules, and that is a rule. And I would teach that because I had to, every college I taught at the first year or first English class that I had to teach, whatever college it was. I always had to teach one lecture on plagiarism, and that does fall correctly under plagiarizing. You can write about your own writing as long as you cite it. But if you don't cite it, it's considered plagiarism still, because you're not giving attribution to the person where the idea came from. And I mean, that really comes down to like when you're trying to like publish your work. If you're citing yourself, then whoever is reading your published work can then go and find that other published work to see whatever it is that was said in that document, or what research was done, or what study was ran, or whatever. So it really all sets the student up with the thought in mind that if they get to the point where they're publishing any work, that they're always going to have everything they need there in one place. So, but what's really weird is that plagiarism is totally different in different countries. There are some countries, and I don't even remember which ones they are now. I want to say China, but I could be wrong. It's been too many years now since I used to teach this. There are some countries where plagiarism is not a thing because every idea is not new. So if every idea is not new, you can't plagiarize anything because there's no new ideas. You're just rehashing all ideas or something along those lines. So to me, that was ridiculous. If they just use the same paper, okay, that might be an issue. Maybe talk about that, or otherwise teach them how to cite. Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to, is teaching. But if it was an advanced English class, then the teaching would have already happened, even if they test it out. Because I tested out of English when I was in the military. I tested out of the English classes because my goal at that time was to get points for my board to get my E5, because at that time you had to get promotion points on certain different aspects of just your life. So there was academics, there was your military driving license, there was your PT scores, there's all these different things you could do that you could increase your points by doing certain things. And I knew I could test out of all the English classes at a college level. So I just went down to a local college and did the CLEP test. And it took me like an hour to do the test. And then I got extra points for my promotion so that I could get because you have to hit a threshold, and that threshold came out different every month for different MOSs. And my MOS was always kind of high. But I did make my E5 on my E5 board. And you also went to a board at that time, not anymore. But where you had to basically be drilled in front of a board. And you got points from that too for your promotions. So, and I got the highest score on that. I got 149 out of 150, and that was the highest score in like 3 years in my battalion. But anyways, other stuff. What was I saying? Teaching. Yes, they need to be taught that. So anyways, I didn't ever do that. I didn't have anyone teach me that because I skipped right out of all those classes. But they should be taught that. Just again, it depends on what level they were in. If they were taking like the first semester of English for college, then they should have been taught how to cite. That was part of the curriculum of all 3 colleges I taught at. Yeah. But even saying that, like, to tell the students that they even have to cite themselves, not every teacher may have thought of that, depending on how they set up their lecture. Because I mean, like all 3 colleges I taught for, they didn't say, here's your material, teach this. They just said, you need to teach on this, you need to teach on this, they just gave us topics. Or like WKU, there was like certain requirements every semester. They had to write so many thousands of words every semester, but then there was no requirements like on topics. So, or anything like that, except for the first year you did have the plagiarism, and that was plagiarism in WKU. I can't remember the other colleges. Forget it. I'll go off the tangent here. But I know that was something. So yeah, we had to teach about research papers, but the topic was whatever we wanted to do. Gosh, it's been so long since I did that. Okay, anyways, let me go on. It seems even more ridiculous to me that giving the use of AI in lots of things today. I mean, this event happened years ago, but in today's lens, it's even more ridiculous to me. I don't know if I quite understand that. Like, what do you mean with AI involved? I don't know how that. I think I'm missing a connection in my head between AI and citing yourself in a paper. Hey, from Adishle to Emma and JC. Thanks for sprinting. Have a terrific day. You too. Hey, Adishle. Yes, shorthand keyboard or steno keyboard. Steno keyboard. The ones they use in courtrooms. Oh, like a stenographer. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Oh, Shannon, I don't know if you saw, but Morgan's streaming tonight. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I did not know that she was streaming tonight, and I did not see. So thank you for giving. Hold on. Let me go grab that before it goes away. Grab the link. Okay. Bring good points. I can easily over-fixate on rules. See time anxiety, for example. LOL. Plagiarism, especially then, was very scary, and I was not good at citing. Now, see, here's the thing that I did with my students. Like, I taught them about the plagiarism in the first level English class, and then I think I just had them review plagiarism in the other classes. Because I also taught 2 to 3 other English classes, depending on which college I was in. What I said was they always had to have a first draft. And then a final draft of their essays. They also turn in outlines. And with the first draft, what I told them, the points that they got for their first draft was basically doing the assignment and based on a couple of other things. Like, did they attempt So they didn't have to be perfect at it, but did they attempt to do it in the right formatting style? And that could change depending which college I was teaching at. So did they attempt the formatting style? Did they attempt to do these things that, would make an essay, even if it was not, and they'd even have to hit the full word count. I think I gave them like a minimum that they had to hit, because I always knew that in reading the essays, I would give them pointers like, hey, you could go and add something about this or whatever. And whatever I would say, many of them took that, not always, of course, they could do what they want as their own essay, but they could take that and, beef up their essay if they wanted, to put more word count in there. But so they basically got points for attempting to do the essay the right way. And what I told them was that if they plagiarized, they would get a 0 for that first draft. And now the first draft was always smaller percentage of points. Like say if it was like if the whole thing was worth 100 points and that included brainstorming and outlining first draft, final draft, then the final draft would always be like half the points. And the first draft would be like a quarter or less. So they just get a 0 for that paper. And I would tell them they plagiarize and that they had to fix it by the next paper or they'd be kicked out of the class. But the policy for all the colleges I was in is plagiarism was automatic dismissal from the class. But I would always give them that benefit of the doubt. And I did have a few try. Some of them put Wikipedia word for word entries into their essays without citing Wikipedia. So it was plagiarism. And on top of that, Wikipedia was one of those sites that was on my do not cite from list because it's open source. So yeah, so funny that they would do that. I didn't enjoy it. Yeah, most people don't enjoy that part. But it makes sense. My perspective has changed over time. When I look at what seems to happen in the working world, people rarely seem to care. Yeah. Same with the Navy. Community service was heavier influence, though. Community service, we didn't have that. That's interesting. We did not have a community service one. They counted as service hours and got you great points for advancement. I didn't like people enough. I'm glad we didn't have that one. Hey, Kat, how's it going? Hello, all, and Andy. Hope all is well. Essays are just being written with AI, not likely citing the thousands of texts they're using. I can't even imagine that. I can't. AI is not. Oh Lord. There's ChatGPT 5 out now, right? And what was it? It was Saturday when I came up with that new short story idea. When I woke up, I just verbal vomited the whole idea for my short story. And then I took all of those and then I broke those into beats and then acts. And then I put it into ChatGPT and I was like, does this make sense to you? Does it seem like a short story? Because the last time I put a short story into ChatGPT, I said, no, this is a novella length. I was like, oh yeah, you're probably right. And I said, did I, and I also gave it my verbal vomit. I said, did I capture everything in this, whatever? So I put all that into my prompt and put that into ChatGPT and it wrote my story. And I had to write, I did not ask you to write my story. Please reread my prompt. But anyways, I can't imagine that the AIs are any good. I actually didn't read it, so I don't know if it did well or not in writing my story, but I just saw that it was writing my story. I'm like, what are you doing? I was like, that is not the prompt I gave you. But I can't imagine that they're any good at still not hallucinating, because I still hear people talking about that. Like videos and news reports. I read news sometimes in bed at night, where there's all these hallucinations. So how can you write? I don't know how they can just write, how anyone would be able to write their essay and just trust, oh, this is all right. And even if they're trying to cite something, it's not going to be a real thing. I don't know. Yeah, not all essays. So the unique perspective in honoring other people's work is likely getting lost. Yeah. Every other English class I had after the basic one, the teacher always gave a checklist for citing and warning against plagiarism. Yeah, I had to do that. I had my own checklist for like websites not to cite, because most of them were open source or were known for having misinformation when it came to certain facts or whatever, depending on whatever it was topic that they were getting that semester. Nice. I think I just as over worried about it, and it just didn't work well for how I process. Probably, I can understand that. It seems I wander into a very fortuitous conversation as I'm interested in nonfiction writing. Proper citation is a concern for me. Yeah, I mean I besides the first class I taught with the citation, I had to teach a little bit of it. I didn't have to. They didn't tell me how much I need to teach. The advanced English 3 class I had at WKU was the only class I had like that in any college. Where most colleges was 2 classes was mandatory. But that one was 3 classes was mandatory. And that one, the students had to learn how to write in their career fields, citation style, reference manual, whatever. So that I had to do. And so proper citation, it's just, that could be different depending on which one you're using. If you're using Chicago manual style is what's used for nonfiction in most nonfiction and fiction publications. So nonfiction as in like when you're writing a book for nonfiction, that is like what Dale writes, things like that. Most of that, or even like what Joanna Penn, when she does her nonfiction, that's usually uses CMOS. That could change if a book is being written in a certain field like psychology, then it would be APA. So yeah, so that really does depend, like what are you writing? Wiki was a huge no-no. Avoid at all costs. Yes. Check the resources within the wiki for useful sources. I would tell my students that. But what I would tell them is that why are you even using wiki? If you're using wiki, most likely you did some type of searching. Most often, they use search functions of Google. And I would tell them, I'd give them the paper with all this on there too. I was like, don't use Google. Use Google Scholar. Google Scholar will give you back articles that have something to do with what you're trying to find. And then some of those articles are free and some are not, but then you just note down the database it comes from. And depending on which college I was at, colleges pay for certain databases and they're not the same from college to college to college. So then I say, you go look for it in our database and see if we have it. And then you can pull the research report yourself. Yeah. So yeah. Does anyone have an authoritative source for how to properly cite, or at least would be widely accepted? It just really depends on what formatting. What's it called? It keeps slipping my. So there's lots of different formatting style. What formatting style are you using? So, and if you don't know, that would be the first thing, is to figure out what formatting style you're going to use. If it's just writing a nonfiction book, in most cases, it's probably going to be CMOS, but there are different ones for different subjects. So the student that doesn't care about the work is always going to find corners to cut. AI is just another pair of scissors or whatever. I like the analogy. I do. I really love that analogy. Which sort of citation? I'd use the official handbook of the source. Yeah, whatever citation style, formatting style that you are going to use. Yeah, and then which year recitation. I would be citing various works from multiple disciplines. If there's a manual out there that goes over at least the basics, there isn't. Yeah, there's no manual out there, because these formatting style guides, they are created by organizations. So they're not going to care about anybody else's citation or formatting style guide, because they have their own. CMOS, it does have thousands of editions, because they're constantly updating what they're doing all the time. If you're doing multiple disciplines, I would say if you could get away with CMOS, stick with CMOS. That's going to be easier. But usually something that is multiple disciplines, what I've seen, if you're going to have footnotes and endnotes, it is easiest to do that in, I just had it. Is that Chicago? That is Chicago Manual Cell. It is CMOS. What was I thinking? I have no idea. But yes, CMOS is what you're going to want. But there was something else. There was something that I was trying to say, but I don't know what it was. MLA has its own handbook. APA has its own. Chicago has its own, etc. And yeah, and there's lots of them out there. There are a ton of different citation styles out there. But Cacophonous. So there are free sites to use if you need to figure out your bibliography entry, and if you need to figure out how to set up your citation. So you go to these sites. You say, how do you cite, or say citation in Chicago. You can just Google that, and you'll come up with lots of different ones where you're just plugging in the information and it creates the citation entry for you to put into your bibliography, or it'll create the citation how to use it in a sentence. So you don't really, Purdue, hold on. You said one guide. There isn't like a Purdue University. Ow. I don't know if it still goes. Okay, here we go. I got it for you. So this one has the most common style guides and a breakdown of all of them. Now it doesn't, like if you get into like something that's really particular, like you're like, well, I need this, and it's a book that is written by an author I'm already using in my bibliography, but it's written with different co-authors, and it's in an earlier year and a different publication. That can get, you know, once you start having different things like that, it makes it a bit harder to figure it out by using something like this. But those citation guides, or those citation makers, citation machine, I think is one of them. I used to use that one quite a bit when I was teaching Purdue University. Oh, okay. Here is the link for it. So there you'll find APA, MLA. I think those are the only two it's got there, but it's got CMOS somewhere, unless they decide to do away with it. I'm only seeing APA and MLA, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe you could dig into it and see if there's more. But I used to use it for all three. APA, MLA, and CMOS were the three that were used mostly by the students I taught at WKU, where they had to write in their style guide. Occasionally, there was one that was an outlier. Once I had a journalism student, and they use AP, which is totally different. And note that formatting style guides is not just about citation and your bibliography, which also bibliography could be called something different depending which citation style guide you're using or which formatting style guide you're using. It is also about language. So they will break down, like, here's the language you should be using for this. And I can't recall everything. And they change. So even anything I could say could be different now, but you want to look at it. Like I know that at one point you weren't supposed to use like collective pronouns when you were writing in APA, but I think that has changed. So there's a lot of things when it comes to language. The one that's the most stringent on language though would be AP, because it's it's journalism, and they're very different in how you use language when you're writing your reports, your papers, your books, whatever it is. Yeah. I had to switch to CMOS for my master's. Let's see. My bachelor's was in psychology, so it was APA, and my master's was in writing, so it was MLA. I never had to use CMOS. Luckily, I didn't have to use it much. Yeah, I think CMOS is Chicago. I think that's one of the hardest ones if you're using footnotes and endnotes. If you're just doing regular citation style with bibliography, not so terrible, but I see. Just try to hit the googly box. I see from the results what you're talking about. There are free options to input. Oh, yeah, that's what I was just talking about. Citation Machine was the one I use most. Purdue used to have one too, but I don't know if they still have it. But yeah, there are free options to put in create citation for you. But Google will bring them up. Thank you for streaming. Thanks, JC. Thank you, Eva. Happy writing, everyone. Have a great week. Purdue Owl. Yes. Take care. There's a link. Ooh, that worked. Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. That brings us to the end. I'll be back tomorrow with the same setup for the sprints, in which is 3 hours strictly timed, 5-minute breaks in between, and the same undergrad. So APA it was. There you go. I didn't mind APA, but MLA is definitely the easiest. MLA is by far the easiest to use. So, all right. Thank you, everyone, so much. And I'll catch you guys all later. Bye.